Hello everybody, it's Josie here. So I have got a very precarious tower of books next to me, and the reason there's so many books and they're about to fall over is because I'm going to be doing my A to Z of Queer Lit. So this is one of my A to Z of Queer Lit editions. I'm going to be doing like a horror, witchy kind of one as well, and just doing different themes ones, but this is just kind of a mixture of all genres of books. It's literally just that they have queer representations. So I'm going to go through them quite quickly because there's a lot of books, but hopefully you'll find some that you enjoy that you haven't read. So first one, for A, we've got The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. So this book is incredible. It is basically about a group of girls and it focuses on rape culture and feminism and friendship. And Rosina is an incredible character. She's bold, she's vibrant, she's queer, she's incredible. Awesome book, 5-star read. B, we've got Blue is the Warmest Color. This is by Julie Mahon. This is the original, this is the original like comic. So most people will know the movie, and this is actually the graphic novel, and it is gorgeous, and it is actually extremely heartbreaking. The art is stunning, and it basically focuses on a relationship between two girls. One, this is her first queer relationship. The other one, whose isn't her first queer relationship, and the kind of intensity of that relationship and what happens when it goes wrong. It's beautiful, it's heartbreaking. The drawing style is stunning, and it is phenomenal. Then we've got C, we've got Carol. So Carol is, again, it's been turned into a film, a very famous film. So basically you've got a love story between an older woman and a younger girl. They meet, the girl is like a shop girl, and this is sort of in the 50s, early 60s, and they basically embark on a romance, and it needs to be kept hidden. The older woman is married with a child, and then there's fallout from there. Fantastic book. Great exploration of queerness at the time as well. So D is for Disobedience. So we seem to have a theme because this book was turned just recently into a film that I haven't seen yet, but I'm gonna see because it's got Rachel Weisz in it. And this basically focuses on the relationship between these two women. So what I love about this is it explores Jewish culture as well. You get to know Judaism really, really well. So one of the characters, she lives in New York. She's very independent. She is queer, and she's not hiding it. And her father was the rabbi. Father's died. She comes back for his funeral, and there's fallout that happens because of her behavior and the way she is. And also, the woman that she was kind of in love with when they were kids and they did stuff together is now the wife of her cousin, who's kind of lined up to be the next rabbi. Really great book, poignant, like I said, gives you great insight into Judaism as well, which is really, really interesting. Then we've got E, Everything Leads to You, Nina LaCour. I am planning on doing a whole Nina LaCour video because I could just sit here and tell you how much I love her and I love her books. Everything Leads to You is beautiful. It is set in LA. It's basically about making a film. So you've got two girls, well, yeah, they end up making a film, kind of an indie film, set over the summer. This is a perfect summer read. Beautiful queer romance. What I love about this is that the plot doesn't hinge on the fact that something bad happens because the girls are queer. They just happen to be queer, which is wonderful, sweet, lovely, gorgeous summer romance. Then you've got F, which is for Girls on Fire. This book I adore. You can tell by the tabs. It is about quite a messed up friendship between two girls that also develops into something more than a friendship. This book, it was more than I expected. It is a 5-star read. It really delves into that kind of complex, weird, crazy, sometimes toxic relationship between women. Then it adds that layer of when that friendship goes beyond just platonic. And then it has a thriller kind of twist, psychotic element to it that I didn't see coming. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. F, sorry, that was F. We've got G. This is Girls on the Side by Carrie Pack. This is fantastic. This is set in the 90s. It is all about Riot Girl. You have quite a few queer characters, but the main character is bisexual, and she has kind of two relationships. One that's a bit kind of doesn't work out, and then the second one that's great. It explores kind of right girl, it explores that movement, it explores feminism, it explores inclusion as well, which is great because the second girl that she falls in love with is a black character, and she talks about kind of how the movement of riot girl and feminism and queer culture even if it isn't that inclusive of women of color. So fantastic book, loved it. Next one, H, Hot Milk. So we've got Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. This book I really enjoyed. Again, it's a great summer read because of the setting. It says in the Canary Islands, I think. Yeah, it's an island. And basically it's a story about a girl and her mother, and they have quite a toxic, complex relationship. But the story also focuses on this girl kind of seeing another woman and falling for her, and really kind of obsessively falling for her. So you have that queer element, you also have that element of that quite complex relationship with her mother. It's a small book, packs a lot in, highly recommend it. I is for The House of Impossible Beauties. Whoops, we'll pick that up. That's the next one, stay there. House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Cassara. This book is just gorgeous. It focuses on the ballroom scene of the 80s, and it really, it is beautiful, but it is incredibly heartbreaking because you also have that interwoven with the story of AIDS and transgender and queerness at a time that wasn't that accepted, and that fear that was instilled with the HIV virus. It also focuses on the House of Extravaganza, which was one of the biggest houses on the scene of the ballroom. This has also been turned into an awesome TV series called Pose. Highly, highly recommend the TV series. Read the book, watch the series. Fantastic, both of them. The next one that wanted to jump at me was Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. So this is Jay. Jeanette Winterson always has a wonderful queer element in her books. This one is kind of semi-autobiographical about her life, about religion, about coming to terms with who she was and her queerness, and it is fantastic and beautifully written, as all Jeanette Winterson's books are. Then for K, we've got Keeping You Secret. So really this is a kind of a teen romance that focuses on a girl who isn't out, is exploring her feelings. She meets another girl at school who is very out and proud, but it's this idea of keeping that relationship secret, and the fallout from that and how you finally find the courage to be yourself. Really sweet, lovely YA romance. Then we've got L, which has got a lot of L's in it, The Lives and Loves of Roxana Ali. This is gorgeous. I read this, was the beginning of the year, the end of last year. I really, really like this. It is so culturally diverse. So you've got Roxana, who is of Bangladeshi origin, and being queer, she's gay, but they live in the States, is not acceptable in her culture, and her parents are basically trying to marry her off to a man. She doesn't want to be married off, and she's sent to her family to basically, it's meant to be a holiday, but they end up trying to matchmake her and marry her off, and they won't let her come back. It is incredibly gut-wrenching. It's incredible insight into the culture, its own voices. There were bits on this where my heart was racing towards the end of this because, you know, which way it was going to work out. Highly recommend it. I think it is a great own voices, slightly different perspective on sexuality and also on culture. Fantastic read. The next one is, where are we even? M, The Miseducation of Cameron Post. So we've got this, oh, how much can I say about, also, how nice is that? I don't even know how much I can say about this, how much I love this book. So The Miseducation of Cameron Post, also been turned into a wonderful film. Watch the film, fantastic. But this focuses on a girl who is caught with her best friend at kind of the prom. They're making out, having sex in the car. And her aunt, who she lives with because her parents have passed away, send her off to gay conversion camp. Now, this is set in the American South. She obviously has been keeping the secret. She hadn't told anyone that she was gay, and it is very hard to read. The conversion camp part is extremely difficult, but again, very, very important, very poignant. This still happens today in the world. there are some wonderful characters, wonderful side characters in this book as well. Beautifully written, beautiful book, one that I reread and absolutely watch the film. It is fantastic. The next book we've got here is Crimson by Nivik Cornelissen. So this is for N. This book is very, very cool. It is a very modern take on storytelling. So you've got sections in here that are written in, if I can find a section, in, like you've got like check boxes, like a form that they're filling out, and then you've got text, so they send each other texts and you actually have the text on the page, and it focuses on a group of young sort of 20 somethings, there you go, you can see kind of the text messages, in Iceland, which is great, some diversity. This has also been translated, and it, like I said, it's kind of their lives and loves, how they're into wine, great queer representation in this, lot of queer characters. It's basically just a snippet of their lives and their loves. I really liked it. I thought it was really fresh, modern, different, almost like art house in a book. So the next one we've got here is Overshare by Rose and Rosie. I adore Rose and Rosie. They're wonderful YouTubers. They're a beautiful couple. They make great videos, and they wrote this wonderful book just about their life, how they got together, coming out, mental health. It is fantastic. It is a great gift as well for any, I think, young teenagers that are coming out and just kind of exploring themselves. These two are wonderful. Love them. Love this book. Then the next one is Just Kids by Patti Smith. So this is P. Patti Smith. This is, I'm declaring it, my favorite book of all time. Patti Smith is one of my favorite people in the world. So she's a writer, she's a musician, she's a poet, she is a feminist, she is incredible. And this book basically tells her story and that of Robert Mapplethorpe's in the early 70s in New York City, their ascent to fame. Now, if you don't know who Robert Mapplethorpe is, he is a very renowned photographer. He was a very renowned photographer. Basically, they were in love, and then Robert told Patti that he was actually gay. So you can imagine the emotions that surround that, but he was also her best friend. And sadly, he did pass away from AIDS. And this is real life. This is an autobiography, but it is gorgeous. It reads like a novel. You wouldn't even have to really know who these two people are to enjoy it. It is, again, heartbreaking. It is beautiful. It is filled with gorgeous characters and, you know, that early 70s scene and art and exploration of who you are, who you want to be, and who you're going to become. It's fantastic. All right, next book is, ooh, Q. So, Last Words from Montmartre. This is by Chi Maijin. I murdered her name. I'm so sorry. This one is a bit of a difficult one because this is not a happy book. It is basically, a lot of people say it is a suicide note. And it's a collection of letters that the author wrote to her ex-girlfriend after the breakup of their relationship. And she's very clearly not over her ex-girlfriend. She still loves her. And it is quite sad. It's beautiful. You know, it's not happy, cheerful, but a great exploration of, again, love, kind of obsession, mental health, and obviously if any of those things are triggers, if suicide, mental health are triggers, it's not going to be the book for you, but I found it beautiful and moving, and a wonderful, wonderful book, and this is also a translated work. Right, then the next one we've got is Paulina and Fran. So I keep looking at my list so I know where I am. Paulina and Fran. So this one is a bit more fun. So you've got Paulina and Fran, they're at art school. And you've got one of them who is really bright and bubbly and over the top and crazy, and the other one that's a bit more shy. They're kind of best friends, and it develops into something a little bit more than that. That's what I'm gonna say. Then the next one, oh God, is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. So, what can you say about Radio Silence that hasn't been said before? It is a beautiful book, primarily about friendship. It is almost 100% about friendship, not romance, but you have asexuality, you have bisexuality, queer representation in here. Really beautiful, really an exploration of friendship, what friends really mean, how friends can be there for each other and form a family when your own family has let you down. And again, that coming of age, becoming who you are and exploring who you are as a person. Just gorgeous, highly, highly recommend that. Then we've got, for tea. Had to do it. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is forever one of my all-time favorite books. So basically a fictionalized biography of Evelyn Hugo, who was a star kind of in the golden age of Hollywood, and she's telling her story to a young journalist. Evelyn Hugo's had 7 husbands. The journalist asks her, who was the real love of your life? And it was none of her husbands. It's a fabulous story. Just read it if you haven't read it. The next one is, this over here, is Wild Girls by Diana Southam, and I'm counting this as U because it's got a U in her surname and I couldn't find a book that starts with U. So Wild Girls, this is actually really good. So they said it's the life and love of Natalie Barney and Romaine Brooks, and they were poets and artists in Paris, and I think the early 20s in Paris, and this is great. This is sort of historical. It's true life. It's a biography in a sense, but it kind of reads as a bit historical fiction about these wonderful wild lesbian women. So it's really, really good. The next one is Valencia. Michelle T is one of just my favorite authors. She is Own Voices, queer, writes these great stories set mainly in 1990s San Francisco, about her crazy adventures with all her crazy girlfriends. This one's no exception. It's probably my favorite, Valencia. And basically, yes, it kind of focuses on just her crazy relationships, kind of, I think, semi-autobiographical as well, but there's a great cast of weird and wonderful people, kind of really grungy, really punky, really 90s, a lot of gay sex as well. Then the next one we've got, W, is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This book ripped my heart out. It is such a gorgeous exploration on loneliness and grief and friendship and love. And coming to terms with who you are and who others are. So you've got a lead character, Marin, who her grandfather's died. She's run away to New York to go to school, to go to university, and she's basically dropped and left everything and not told anyone she's leaving. And her best friend Mabel finally comes to visit her over Christmas break, where Marin is all by herself in the dorms. Everyone else has gone home. And you kind of going to hear their backstory, the fact that they were best friends and then one summer became more than just best friends. Poignant, beautiful, extraordinary, exceptional. I adore this book. It's just a must read. Any Nina LaCour is amazing. That one is gorgeous. Then for X, because again, I couldn't find a book that starts with X, but we've got Alexander McQueen. This is Blood Beneath the Bones, beneath the skin. This is a biography of Alexander McQueen's. Alexander McQueen, if you don't know, he was a fashion designer. Incredible. He's the most incredible fashion designer ever. I was so lucky enough to see his exhibition at the V&A Museum. It was a retrospective after his death. He was an extraordinary artist, and this basically tells the story of his life. He was also a queer man. He did commit suicide, so trigger warnings for suicide. And it is a beautiful story, but it's also a tragic story of having to deal with being this creative person and then having to deal with the pressure that success brings with it, and the gaze of the outside world. It's gorgeous. There's also a film. I would highly recommend the film as well. Then, 2 more left. We've got Pages for You, which I used as Y, Sylvia Brownrigg. God, I love these books. So there's a follow-up to this, Pages for Her. So this one is set, I think, in the 60s or the early 70s at college. And you have Flannery and I think Helen, am I saying that right? Anne, sorry, Flannery and Anne. So Anne is the TA in one of the classes that Flannery's taking, and they meet. Flannery has this kind of instant attraction to Anne. There's an attraction between the two of them. There's this beautiful kind of intense relationship, and then there's something that happens. This is the first book. Highly recommend reading this one and Pages for Her, which is the follow-up. It's like 10, 15 years, something later. So you see what happened to the characters, which I kind of love. It's a bit like those films where you kind of see it like 10, 15 years later, what happened to them. But highly recommend both of these books. Beautifully written, great kind of addition to the queer canon. And then the last book is Zed. I actually found a book for Zed. Is Zami, A New Spelling of My Name by Audre Lorde. Again, this is a autobiography. Audre Lorde is a wonderful, incredible feminist writer, poet. She's extraordinary. And queer woman of color as well. And this basically talks about her life, being raised, coming to terms with where she is, you know, kind of fighting her way out of her circumstances, and different relationships that she's had, and different women that she's been with, and kind of talking about herself and finding her art and her voice as well. Really gorgeous. Again, highly recommend. That is it. That is my A to Z of Queer Lit, sort of part one of who knows how many. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've read any. Let me know if you have any recommendations. And I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.